Viewers like you have been playing great games, you've told us what they are, and I picked out some of the most intriguing, interesting and inescapably great titles to share with you, including some classics, some hotness, and as always, several surprises on this month's People's Choice selections. We start off this month with some of the aforementioned hotness with Emberleaf. Emberleaf is a competitive card dancing and tile placement board game where brave Emberlings are on a mission to rebuild their home in the heart of an ancient forest, and they do this by exploring the wilderness, gathering resources, clearing dangerous areas and constructing new homes with their kin. Along the way, they also recruit heroes into their fellowship, each bringing unique skills that will help empower their team. It's Faye T that's been playing Emberleaf who says, "Cute critters and careful planning, that's the trick." Card dancing, it's a thing that I didn't understand and then I saw it happen and now it makes sense to me. So Emberleaf is by the makers of Isle of Cats. Fantastic game, perennial green gem of a game. And this is something very different to that. This card dancing mechanism is all about getting cards into your row. You've got some multiple rows and you can get resources on them, and when you put them into the row they do things, when they come out of the row they do things. So really it's this card manipulation that drives the game. I have to play this. I just need to. Is there something mythological about a chicken named Fafnir that I'm unaware of? Because our next game is Fafnir, about a chicken who lays 2 types of gems each day. Good for them. Gems that the players want to acquire. This is a bidding game where the gems that you win become the currency you use later, but it's all with the aim of having the most gems of the most popular colours by the end of the round, as all of the gems collected, apart from the gold ones, are negative points. Kenneth K has been enjoying this, saying, "An odd little game where a bird lays gems and gold. Be the best to collect the popular colours while at the same time dumping the unwanted colours quickly. Not exactly sure how to do that yet." I'm not a huge collector of Oink games. I've enjoyed certainly my fair share, but I've got Scout, but even then I've got the old version of Scout, the original version, because I'm cool like that. But I looked into Fafnir and I love blind bidding and set collection type stuff, and this obviously is in a small box, it's really streamlined. I'm legitimately interested in Fafnir. I think this one looks like a lot of fun because you're collecting these gems that you want, and you've got to spend the gems to get more gems, so everything's a big decision. And you might think you're doing really well, and at the end, realise you're not, because you didn't take into account what everyone else has. And you also don't know what everyone starts with, so there's always a bit of hidden information. I've never played Libertalia. Fine. Now you know. I've also never eaten a plum, but that's not really what this video is about. What Libertalia is about, or rather the new edition, Winds of Galecrest, is pirates and their inability to share properly. Here, sky pirates set sail on the winds in search of adventure, treasure and glory, and as an admiral, you command a vast and varied crew. But so do your rivals, sailing other ships in the pirate fleet. Each day, the fleet lands on a different island where you'll send a crew member to collect your share of the loot, hoping that they'll return to boost your growing group of characters. Stephen F has been enjoying Winds of Galecrest, saying, "I love the artwork and the components. Playing with only 18 of the 40 cards randomly picked each game offers a plethora of variability. I do enjoy. It deserves more love, but don't we all?" No, some of us don't. I don't deserve any love. But you can always leave a comment and like the video. Libertalia is just one of those games that passed me by. And even the new version passed me by, like some type of sky pirate. Everyone has the same pirates, but that is where the control ends and the chaos begins. I watched a few reviews for this, and there's no way this game is not just chaos, but probably in a really fun way. Some of the cards have abilities that happen during the daytime. There's dusk abilities that happen. There's recurring night abilities that happen. Things happen in one way and then they happen in another way. Everything's to try and get money, but you'd have to be some type of magical whiz if you're going to keep up with everything And it's the inability to do that which is going to cause chaos. Mind Bug is up next, which I am saying of my own free will, I think. There's a lot of versions of Mind Bug. They never specified which one. But in all, Mind Bug players summon hybrid creatures and send them to battle against their opponents. But when you summon a creature, the opponent may use one of their Mind Bugs to take control of it. So it's up to you to outwit your opponent in a fascinating tactical duel in which having the best cards and playing them at the wrong time can be deadly for yourself. It's Amy A that's been controlling my mind. Oh, she has. Never mind. She says, all hail the Mind Bug. I love Mind Bug. And there's lots of reasons I enjoy it so very much. It's such a simple twist on a TCG style game, you know, a trading card game like Magic the Gathering or Pokemon. And it really has that feel, that game flow, that kind of play, but it's stripped out all the collectability, even though there's lots of Mind Bug now to buy, and added in the twist of the Mind Bug itself, where you can just straight up steal something, which is just a delicious and fun tension. The whole game, from concept to production, has an air of ridiculousness to it on purpose. And I just appreciate the heck out of that. I'm a massive fan of Mind Bug. And there's going to be a King of Tokyo Mind Bug coming out. I pre-ordered it. And I don't pre-order things very often, if at all. It's my favourite time of the day again. I've got a cup of tea, and I get to talk to you about Rodney games. And this time it's Orbit's turn. Orbit is a racing game where the goal is to be the first to visit every planet in the Silo system. But the planets are moving, something that can help or hinder our pilots as they cruise around in hyperspace. In key Knizia style, Orbit has simple turns but challenging possibilities, as well as a few variants in the box to mix things up. Mike Q's been getting shipshape for Orbit and says this is an abstract strategy race game at its core, but gosh, it makes for some shouting at the table every time we play. I won't belabor the point, but Bitewing Games and Rodney Knizia, delicious. Just fantastic. They've been making a lot of reprints, and there was this Silo series of games where one was a reprint of Municipium, there was a reprint of Beowulf the Legend, and Orbit, which is a brand new game. Knizia just has it, and it looks like Orbit has these simple concepts, but then because there's, you know, you've got to go off and go to all the planets, but you also could not go to the planet and instead go off course and collect a bunch of tiles that are going to boost up your ability to go up to planets later, but why then will it be too late? Possibly. I mean, possibly. Century Golem Edition is up now, the rethemed version of Century Spice Road set in the world of Caravania, which we all know so well. Here players are caravan leaders who travel the famed Golem Road to deliver crystals to its far reaches, and each turn players take one of 4 simple actions: establishing a trade route, making a trade, fulfilling a demand, or simply resting and taking back your cards that you've played into your hand. Drew A loves this one, telling us, how can you make a great gateway game and make it better? Add golems. The retheming of Century Spice Road to use chunky gems and delightful fancy artwork of helpful golems harvesting crystals instantly replaced the original game in our collection. We recently got it back to the table and were reminded how good a game it is. Now to try combining it with the other games in the series. The whole Century series was an ambitious project, if I remember correctly, because you had 3 games, maybe it was 4, and I think it was 3, and you can combine them all together to make a bunch of different games. So you can combine game 1 and 2 to make game 3, I guess game 4, because you can get game 2 and 3 makes game 5, or essentially they're mix and matchable, and that's kind of cool because it is a fantastic gateway game. I really do think that about Century Spice Road and the Golem Edition. Fantastic entry level games, and what I always want from a great entry level game is more of that game that is going to increase the complexity, because it means those gateway gamers they're becoming hardcore entrenched gamers, like me and you. What are we doing? I just love board games, all right? That's fine. Our next game is Panda Royale. And I'll just say it here. I want this game. There is a theme, which I will tell you now. In Panda Royale, it's the Midsummer Festival, where the 7 panda clans gather to celebrate their many years of peace and prosperity. After all the feasts and stories and games, the elders host the annual competition, wherein the bravest of all the pandas gather to battle for the honour and glory of their clan. Now, I don't think the people behind Panda Clan are going to mind me saying you won't find much of that in the game. This is all about dice drafting, and players start with but a single yellow die. And over 10 rounds, they build a hand of 10 dice to earn the most points, with each colour of dice having its own scoring properties. It's Chris C, who we are pandering to this time, who says, played this a couple times at a friend con over the weekend. The rules are a little wonky at first, but once you get into the rhythm of it, it's a fun dice chucking, dice drafting game with a little bit of take that and lots and lots and lots and lots of dice. Ah, oh, gosh, I want this. I want this game because you start off with the yellow die, and it's just who scores. You score the face. It's just 1 to 6 points when you roll it, and whoever rolls highest gets to draft the next die because there's a row of dice to draft. And there's a wide array of die and what they do, their abilities. So there's different strategies. So do you get another yellow die to help you get the first pick in a later round? Or do you go for the red dice, which have this multiplying ability to them? Or do you go for the blue dice, which they have these golden glittery dice that let you rob a die off someone else, but you have to give them that glitter die, and it means they can steal a die in the next round? Do you go for the green dice that have just huge numbers, like D20s? So you're just making this pool of dice and then rolling them. And it's simple and fast and frenetic and fun, and gosh, there's not many pandas in it. I'm just going to say that, but it does look like just a grand old time. Tycoons. Everyone's favourite type of people. So, of course, it's time to talk about Star Tycoon, where interstellar business is booming. And the goal, just as it was back on Earth, is to outperform your business rivals. To do this, in Star Tycoon, players will be settling planets and filling them up with production facilities. But central to Star Tycoon is the Galactic Exchange, a fluctuating market that reacts to the supply and demand. So, knowing when to buy and what to sell is key to creating a winning empire. Peter E is somewhat of a tycoon himself, telling us simply that I am such a fan of Tableau engine building games. Star Tycoon is a game that just flew right under my radar, frankly, but I've looked into it, obviously. And gosh, it looks interesting because you only get 12 turns for the whole game. However, every single turn you make, every step you take in the game is just an agonizing decision. You've got to get planets because you need places to build your production. Those planets are going to have certain scoring abilities on them and certain ways to get points. You want to get resources to get production buildings, which get more expensive. And in that way, it's got all these engine building, get more resources to get better stuff, to get the icons that you need to score points. Or do you get the icons that you don't need and use those to your benefit and exchange them in the Galactic Exchange? You can't do a thing where you kind of sell a bunch of stuff and make a bunch of money. It's more of like a trading market than a stock market. But it's just got agonizing choices where you're really going to have to be thinking quite a way down the road, I feel like, to do well. And then there's stuff like events that happen. So all your hard-made plans could get a little bit worse or just a lot easier because you go, oh, I get 2 of those now. That really does help. In Timbertown, though, our next viewer's pick, players are beaver architects constructing a new town on the riverbank using buildings sent drifting down the river. River drafting means that players grab tiles from an ever-changing board, then place those tiles in their town, and this is crucial, in the same column from which the tile was drafted, in an effort to match the objectives for that game. all the different types of buildings score in different ways, as well as have pathways that you'll want to create. So waiting for the right opportunity to float by at the right time is crucial. Grace M says, this is a cozy little game that really reminds me of Tiny Towns. I don't know where my copy is, I played Timber Town, and it is cozy and lovely, and it does remind me of Tiny Towns as well. That's mainly because there's these, I think it's 7 different types of buildings, and they all score in a different way. So you're trying to create your little town with those buildings by those parameters. But I think almost all of the buildings have a little deck of cards, so you can change how they score each round. So you've got lots of replayabilities, like the blue buildings score for this way in one game, they score for this way in another game, essentially. It's a push or look element to this, where you want to grab something, but you don't want your opponent to get it, and but you don't want to take it too quickly because you can't put it in exactly the right spot as you're building this little tiny town, tiny timber town. But with all that talk of tiny towns, it's no surprise, and fortuitous for us all, that multiple people have been playing Tiny Towns this month, where mayors of a tiny town in the forest have created a civilization hidden away from predators. But to build up that new safe haven, players must cleverly plan and construct buildings without letting their 4x4 grid fill up with wasted resources. Buildings are constructed by placing resource cubes in specific layouts, and each building scores victory points in unique ways. Charlotte D has been back to Tiny Towns saying, with the announcement of the new expansion, I thought it was time to dust this one off and get ready for game night. There's a new expansion for Tiny Towns. It makes sense that people are starting to play it, because it's an older game. I've been playing it on Board Game Arena, which works well. I do prefer this one in real life, but it works brilliant on Board Game Arena if you get to want to just play. Because there's something so satisfying about, because you've got monuments which give everyone like a special player power in Tiny Towns. And it's just really interesting and satisfying and fun puzzle to need to put these things in a specific arrangement of cubes to then take all the cubes off and place the building down. Because you also get to call out what cube is coming up for everyone, and you can call what you need and what other people don't need. Because you can kind of just, you can kind of mess around with your opponents in this one. And a new expansion, it's called Underground, or Undergrounds. It's taking place underground. I'm imagining there's going to be underground stuff in it. There's not that much information out on the new expansion. But they say that these buildings are underground, so you've got more space above ground. So I don't know what that means for Tiny Towns, but more content for this game is always exciting, because it is almost a classic. And that's a sampling of what our viewers have been playing this month. To join the discussion for next episode, follow the link in the description to our Patreon to find out how to pick games featured in the People's Choice. And to see the games on our own personal radars, continue on to this month's On the Radar episode. And thank you so much everyone for watching, and we'll see you over there.